A professional translator sits down to translate a 50,000-word product manual. Deadline in a week. 10 years ago, that was a month of work. Today, it's 5 days. Not because the translator got faster, because half of their screen is now a machine, and their job title quietly changed. They aren't a translator anymore. They're a post-editor, and most people outside the industry have no idea this shift happened. Video 1 told the machine's story. 3 eras: rule-based, statistical, neural. Today, the human story. What a translator's actual day looks like when the machine is doing half the work. The tools, the workflow, the reason human translators aren't going anywhere, and the reason they aren't getting paid better either. Video 1 left us with a nuanced picture. Machine translation is astonishing for a handful of high-resource languages, unreliable for the rest, and even for the good languages it stumbles on domain shift and cultural nuance, which means there's still a person in the loop, not for the fluency, for the accuracy, the domain expertise, and the cultural sense. Today's puzzle. If MT is so good, why does the translation industry employ more people than ever? Global demand for translated content has exploded faster than machine quality has improved. Every product manual, every website, every legal disclaimer, in 30 languages, on a schedule. The question isn't whether humans or machines translate, it's how do they split the work? Today's 3 beats. First, CAT tools. Computer-aided translation. SDL Trados, memoQ, what that 3-panel screen actually does, and why it's the single most important piece of software the industry runs on. Second, translation memory, the database of everything the translator has ever translated, why it saves so much time, and how it explains the industry's pricing model. Third, post-editing machine translation, the workflow that took over the industry in the 2010s, what it feels like, and what it costs a translator to do all day. Beat 1. Computer-aided translation. A CAT tool is the environment a professional translator lives inside. The screen is split into segments, usually sentence by sentence. The source segment sits on the left. The translator's target segment sits on the right. And in between, the assistance panels. Translation memory matches, terminology database hits, concordance search, quality assurance flags, and now, machine translation suggestions. Why does the industry standardize on this weird segment-by-segment view? Because translation is not just about producing fluent target text. It's about producing consistent target text across huge documents, and across projects that span years. Every time a translator hits the same source sentence twice, a warning label, a legal clause, a UI string, they need to translate it the same way. The CAT tool enforces that. It's a memory-prosthesis. A quick word on the market. SDL Trados Studio is the incumbent, around since the 1990s. Expensive, Windows only for most of its life. memoQ is the challenger. Modern UI, better collaboration features, Wordfast, Across, MemSource, all in the mix. And in the last 5 years, browser-based CAT tools like Phrase and SmartCat have moved a lot of the industry off desktop software entirely. But the underlying concept, segmented editor plus memory plus MT, hasn't changed. Beat 2. Translation memory, TM. This is the database of every sentence pair the translator has ever finalized. Source in one column, target in the other. When the CAT tool sees a new source sentence, it searches the TM for near matches. Perfect match. Insert the previous translation. Fuzzy match at 85%, show it as a suggestion, let the translator adapt. No match. The translator writes from scratch or from the MT suggestion. Here's where TM gets economic. The translator doesn't get paid the same for every sentence. Perfect matches from the TM often bill at 10 to 20% of a full-price sentence. Fuzzy matches somewhere in the middle. New sentences at full rate. So if you're translating a manual whose 5th edition looks a lot like the 4th, you'll be paid mostly for the deltas. TM turned translation from a per-word craft into a per-word of new content craft. The best TMs are worth a lot of money. A translator who has spent 10 years on a single client's manuals owns a private linguistic asset. Every time that client updates their product line, most of the translation is already done. The tension: clients want to own the TM, translators want to own the TM. Contracts are increasingly clear about who does. It's one of the quiet legal fights of the industry. Beat 3. Post-editing machine translation, PEMT. Somewhere around 2015, as neural MT became decent, project managers started pre-populating the target segments with MT output. The translator's job changed. Instead of writing from scratch, they read the machine's output and fix what's wrong. That's post-editing. 2 flavors. Light post-editing, just make it accurate, don't polish. And full post-editing, get it to publishable human quality. PEMT productivity is real. Industry studies from TAOs and academic groups report 30 to 60% throughput gains over translating from scratch, depending on the language pair and domain, which is why every large translation agency now uses it. But, and this matters, post-editing is cognitively different from translating. You aren't building, you're checking. Studies consistently find that translators find PEMT more tiring and less satisfying, even when it pays more per hour. One catch worth flagging. Fluent MT output creates a specific error pattern. The machine writes something confident and grammatical, that means the wrong thing. Post-editors miss those more than they miss glaring errors. It's a known finding. Automation bias. When the tool sounds authoritative, humans undercheck, which is why the best PEMT workflows explicitly build in slowdown mechanisms for high-stakes domains like medicine and law. 3 takeaways before the quiz. 1. CAT tools segment documents and put source, translation memory, and MT side by side. They exist to enforce consistency across huge documents and across years of work. SDL Trados and memoQ dominate. 2. Translation memory is a private linguistic asset. It changed how translators are paid, per word of new content, not per word of output. Ownership of TMs is a live contract fight. 3. Post-editing MT is the dominant workflow in the industry. Faster but cognitively different, checking, not building. Fluent MT output is the specific trap. Automation bias is real. Quiz 1. What is the main purpose of a translation memory, TM, inside a CAT tool? A. To translate new sentences using a neural network. B. To store every source target segment pair the translator has finalized and retrieve near matches when a similar new sentence appears. C. To automatically detect grammatical errors in the source text. Or D. To manage the translator's calendar and deadlines. B. The TM is the translator's private database of past work. Every new source segment gets searched against it. Perfect and fuzzy matches populate the target automatically, saving huge amounts of retyping and enforcing consistency across years of translations. Quiz 2. What is post-editing machine translation, PEMT? A manually translating a document without any tools. B. The workflow, where MT output is pre-populated in the target segments, and the translator reads, corrects, and finalizes it. C. A tool that automatically corrects MT output without human involvement. Or D. The final QA step, where a proofreader checks for typos. B. PEMT is the human-in-the-loop workflow that took over the industry after neural MT got good around 2015. There are 2 flavors, light fix meaning errors only, and full get it to publishable quality. Productivity gains of 30 to 60% are typical. Quiz 3. Why is automation bias a specific concern in post-editing machine translation? A. The MT engine deliberately hides errors from the translator. B. The CAT tool disables the translator's edit function during certain segments. C. Fluent-sounding MT output can be confidently wrong, and post-editors undercheck plausible-looking segments more than they miss glaring errors. Or D. Automation bias only affects freelance translators. C. When the machine sounds authoritative, humans trust it. Confident and wrong is worse than obviously broken. This is why high-stakes domains like medicine and law use explicit slowdown mechanisms, force confirm each segment, flag high-risk terminology. Back to the puzzle. If MT is so good, why does the translation industry employ more people than ever? Because demand grew faster than machine quality. And because CAT tools, TM and PEMT let a single translator do the work of 3. The human isn't going away. The job description is just quietly changing. Next up, search. Google is not what you think it is under the hood. Next time, search that works. BM25, dense retrieval, and RAG, the retrieval augmented setup that made LLMs finally citable. The engine behind every good chatbot answer. Hit subscribe.